Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about how I built this here model airport of mine. I made a video about this before back in February of 2018, so about 2.5 years ago, when I first built this model airport. And it was basically an overview of how I built it and the construction process. But today is going to be a more detailed version of that, because ever since then, a lot of you guys who have watched my videos have commented a lot of different questions about how I built the airport and specific things. Like, for example, a lot of people have asked, if you look at these terminals here, you can see that there's a glass design on them. Obviously, they're not glass, they're paper. But how I found that design and how I put them on the terminals. And a lot of you guys just ask how I built the terminals, and so many different questions. And a lot of times I just comment or respond. Sometimes I don't, because they're paragraph responses. They have to be explained in a video. So that's what this is here for. I probably should have made this video a long time ago, but here we are, 2.5 years later, 2020 version of how I built my model airport, more in-depth version, of course. So today is November 26th, 2020. It's actually Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I think people only celebrate in the US. I'll have to look that up. So I'm basically going to go through so many different areas as far as this airport goes, from the tables to building the terminals to the tarmac, the taxiways, this grass right here. I don't know if you can see. Just completely everything. And there's even a cargo terminal over there. So we're going to get into that. Also, I guess I should mention, I'm currently in quarantine right now, so that's why my hair is out of control, and for obvious reasons, I can't get a haircut, even though I do badly need one. But anyways, there's nothing else to mention right here, so let's just get started with the video. The first thing I want to do here is give a basic overview of what the airport looks like for those of you who haven't already seen it in my airport updates. So this is the airport here. It's composed of 4 different terminals, a cargo terminal, and 2 parallel runways. One is longer than the other and actually goes off the table. Some of it doesn't exist. So I guess I haven't even said the name of the airport yet. This is the fictional Pittsburgh International Airport. It could obviously be any airport for that reason, because the real Pittsburgh International Airport does not look like this. But this airport acts as a fictional American Airlines hub, so that's why you'll see a lot of American gates. Other than here is a list of the things I'm going to be talking about. Looking at it, you can see that there's this larger table right here. That's the main table of the airport. And then if we go down here, there's this other separate black, also wood smaller. The airport table, and I thought I wrote it down, but I couldn't find it, so I just went ahead and measured it on my phone. So it's probably not 100% accurate, so I'm just going to be rounding up. But as you can see, the width of the airport is about 8 feet, and then when you take the length of that main table, it's also about 8 feet. And if you add that to the width of the smaller black table, which is about 4 feet, you get a total of 11 feet of length, and then obviously the 8 feet of width. So it's a pretty big table for when you're here. I've had Lionel trains when I was a little kid, and I'd always use that. That right there is like a painted waterfall. But 17. What is going on, guys? Justin here. This main table, which I believe they're here. That over there is in third. So yeah, like I can get. Like talk about is not painted, but it's actually just paper. So if we go down here, I think I have some extra like foil. So here we go. So right here, this is just like leftover sheets, but as you can see, it's clearly the same as the tarmac taxiway there. But this is not sponsored at all, but because I always get asked where you can find these. And this right here, you can find it at airportdioramadesigns.com. And if you go on their website, there's basically, you can buy like a bunch of PDFs in one pack. I think it was like $25 of different, all the runway designs and taxiways and gate designs. And you can basically print them out. So that's what I did. I would just print out a whole bunch, go around and cut them, whether they were like taxi lines or runway designs. Like this actually was going to be like the full list of the runway, and it doesn't even go past this table. So like this smaller runway, I had to actually take pieces out of the entire runway section of that PDF file they gave you. So there's clearly a lot that's in the package that you buy. And then, so anyways, like I was saying, you print it out, then just cut it, and then you literally just glue it down. I bought a whole bunch of glue sticks, and for hours I would basically just go with glue sticks, cut, and just glue it all down, and that's just what it took. It's not hard at all, but it's really time consuming, but I found it, in my opinion, really fun. So I would just pretty much get out all my stuff, like equipment, and I would set up like my phone. I used to play Casey Neistat videos and just glue stuff down for hours. In my opinion, it was so fun. And you're probably wondering, how do I know what to put down, like what taxiways and things? And that's why I pre-draw everything out. So rather than just printing a whole bunch of taxiway designs and going as you build, and then that obviously can lead to mistakes, or you might not like something, and it's probably too late because you could have it glued down. So that's why this is a good idea to sketch things. And a lot of times in school, in my notebook when I was bored, I would just go and sketch down how I want the taxiways to look like, and over months it just accumulates and you all put it together into one big design. So as you can see, this is the runway design down here. So there's the two runways here, and then these are the taxiways, the lines as you can see, and then the taxiways leading into the runway. And in between, you want to, it's kind of hard to see, but you want to like write where the grass is going to be. It's not really labeled or anything. So yeah, you have all the taxiway lines, and then this isn't really detailed as much up here, but these are the terminals, and it's pretty hard to see. This is actually an old design, because clearly the airport does not look like that right now, but you basically just write the lines, and then, not that paper, there's another one here. So these are just like sketch of the gates, and then this would be like little roads for the service vehicles. So it's very important to sketch all that down and design everything so you know what you're going to build going into it. Okay, so now we're going to get into how I built the terminals, and there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, I guess 4 terminals that were built, but then you got the cargo terminal. Anyways, we're going to basically go through how they were built, and we're going to start over here with these terminals. So this technically right here is not a terminal, it's just this building right here, but they're two separate, so we're just going to talk about this one right now. But this right here is the landside terminal, so it replicates Heathrow Terminal 5. You probably noticed that, honestly, because as you can see, the curved roof looks very similar to Heathrow, and it does not have any gates, as you can see. I might add this in the future, actually. That could possibly be a video. But basically, this is where like passengers would arrive, and they would check in, go through security, and then there could basically be an underground train, and then in this case, there'd be a bridge to get to this terminal, but underground train to get to all of the other terminals of the airport. This is obviously by far the largest building in my airport, and you can't even put it into perspective because this is just on camera, but this is just a massive building. So if you look inside here, we can see that there are just a whole bunch of wood pieces in here, and there are 4 different thick wood pieces that are curved at the top of each one for the curvature of the roof, and those were of course just traced out. So we got thick pieces of wood, and they were cut with a handsaw, I believe, and the way we traced them was we just put the curved wood over top of it and then traced it underneath what the exact curvature would be, and then of course cut it out. So those were glued to this piece of balsa wood here that is obviously bent as the roof, and then for this side it is met by a thinner piece of balsa wood that are glued to the sides of these thicker pieces, and this is basically all glued. As you can see, it's kind of yellow there if it'll focus, by a wood glue. It's not just any type of glue, it's not hot glue, it's not Elmer's or Gorilla Glue for that matter, just basic wood glue. So the top of the building, I'll set it down, was painted gray, of course, and then I hot glued these metal strips down to just add some texture to the design, make it look kind of cool. So as far as these building prints go, as you can see they're on the side, these building prints are on most of the terminals. This terminal right here has a different design of glass, but there it's on the international terminal, and it's on this one as well, like I said. I'm going to talk about that now because a lot of you guys have asked, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where I'm getting this from and how I put it on. So basically, I literally searched up on Google. I'm not sure the exact search, but it was pretty much just glass designs or airport glass designs. So let's say a picture like this popped up. Then I pretty much put it on a Google Doc, made it the size I want, and probably just cut out a whole bunch on paper so that I can just cut around it. And I printed this on glossy paper. Now that's very important because if you were to just get regular normal paper and glue it on the side of these terminal buildings, the texture wouldn't be very good, and also it would just be very not professional, I guess. And if any water got on it, it would easily, obviously, destroy it and not look good at all. That's why it's tough when water gets on these taxiways. It's actually happened a couple times. You have to pretty much redo it or it doesn't look very good because it's paper, of course. So what you do is you obviously print that and then you cut it out to whatever you'd like. And then obviously, as you can see, this isn't straight one piece of paper here. This is just glued in sections, you can see. So yeah, they're just glued down. Like that could easily be glued down a little bit more, but that's okay. So that goes on all sides of the terminals, and well, ignore that bad paint job underneath there. But as you can see here, this is a bridge I wanted to add to this terminal here, which I'll talk about in a minute. But as you can see, I just put on the building design and then painted it gray. So yeah, that's the inside and underneath of this terminal. Take a little bit closer look. Just go all around if you're interested. And I'll actually insert some clips right here of what the building looked like before it was built. So this right here is Terminal A, which is the domestic airlines terminal. It has Delta Airlines, United, JetBlue, Alaska, and Air Canada as well, which technically isn't domestic.
So sue me.
You caught me.
No, don't sue me. That's the opposite of the point that I am trying to.
So it's hard to tell, but this is actually a curved roof. I'll go on the other side. So as you can see there, it's not this incredible design, but there is a little bit of curve if it will focus. There is a little bit of curve in the roof design. So this building isn't too complicated. It used to be just one of the old terminals on my old airport, and it's basically just this big block of wood. And I just took those building prints I just talked about, glued them on the side, and then took pieces of balsa wood, and then just, if it will focus, what is going on? So anyways, took that balsa wood, and I don't know if you can see, but I just nailed it down on the sides over there, and then it created that curve. It's very important to get balsa wood that's very thin and it can curve easily, because if you get thick wood, obviously it will not curve, and you have to get the right type of balsa wood. I did not get any of my wood anywhere, by the way. I pretty much just had it out in the, well, I didn't have it, my dad actually had it, just out in his garage, and this was all just scrap wood. This entire airport was made of scrap wood. I guess I should have said that earlier. So I did not buy a single piece of wood. This was all just stuff that I had, or we had. I mean, obviously you might want to go out and buy balsa wood if you don't have any. It's probably going to be necessary if you want to add more realistic designs to like curved roofs and stuff like that, but I'm sure it's not that expensive. So because this building isn't super wide, that's why there isn't a huge gap or a big curve, because when you nail it down the sides, it's not going to be this huge thing. But if you look at the landside terminal in the back there, you can see that because it's much wider, you can obviously have that bigger curve. And of course that curve was achieved through those thick wooden pieces in the middle that basically had the structural support for that curve. So here's just a view on this side of the terminal. Nothing really special, just like the front side. And as you can see back there, I did not add any like roadways or anything to that landside terminal, but it's kind of hard to see, but there are still the glass designs on the side of the terminal. So it's still there. So next up here is the American Airlines terminal, which has the domestic routes for American Airlines. This terminal, as you can see, is just a long, straight rectangular terminal, but then there's also this kind of random piece here, and that acts as like that air train, like underneath all the airport that I said. This is kind of like where you could get off of the train and also like where food might be. So kind of like that centerpiece of the terminal. And as you can see down there, there's actually like a little commuter section. So how this terminal was built is, I think, kind of like the landside terminal, where there are basically kind of like wooden brackets that are holding the terminal up for support underneath. But let's actually uncover this, because you figured I built this 2.5 years ago. I don't exactly remember. So let's flip this upside down. Okay, so as you can see, I think, yeah, I was right, because see how there's these, oh, well, you can't even see, these little pieces? No, there's not a whole lot of them that are basically holding up the roof, and a lot of this looks hot glued to me. Huh, that's different. So this is a very fragile terminal, so I'm going to set it back down, but there should be some clips I have of when I was building this. This is all a mess now, this is all over the place. But if you look at this terminal, I don't know if you can tell, but the roof is actually slanted. Here, I'll go over on that side. So this roof here, now you can tell, is slanted. And so I don't really need to explain much as far as what's underneath it, because you saw pretty much those wooden brackets that are glued together to hold up this roof. And then this is also